Kwasi Kwarteng you Kennedy accompany ko Japan. The campaign team, one of the strong people who Kennedy accompany ko Japan camp. Yeah, or kasa kwe chiri pa na no kwe chiri ankasa. Na bre mu no me say and some of our brody go say we say the dem back at on we ko person obetikura na NPP ameyuku ade wo mo person obeba ban mu bim but so mo person mo ba ban mu dia on dia Kennedy accompany ko Japan and wo siso esisu dua say wo deserve so obetime di NPP ameyuku ni memu nya Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia wasan ka biem so na dia wo nsure na woka afi bi atwem wo mo ye campaign di ma Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia nanso no ekwa wi ase no na the greatest disgrace aba e di NPP abusuya we di nkomo bebrebe
we did it go show so yeah because oh dear me surprise
it is well
but we be able go
here bra be fine so
it
is well it is well
na nka be she me space no na me tie musanza am so no eze bi me tie kan sem ni
and on tie ase o
me there is one thing about me will view and policy as a communicator for politically exposed person. May have a template in addressing process.
Yeah.
And especially, it will not be wise for you to even attack the credibility of Musa.
Yeah.
Because we're gaining public trust.
Yeah.
And so, ebasa, kwese bese paniko na de ahabai, but the first year testing the banyansa form.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, no, semi discrediting Musa, the first question was say, vote to ban the Kennedy Japan. It really doesn't add anything to Kennedy Japan.
Right.
But there are ordinary Ghanaians and reasonable Ghanaians. One of them say, I'm just being in a denial state. Because one more year the agility. When people build trust and credibility, a weapon.
Yeah.
Sometimes they can use it well, sometimes they can also weaponize it.
Yeah.
More clear instance. I mean, that is my personal reservations. Way is not a campaign issue.
Yeah.
Somebody like Anas is somebody I have issues with.
Yeah.
Why? Because let me say, we build a public trust, and he's relevant because state institutions are also more fighting corruption has failed. In some way, somehow, we burn as the Messiah.
Yeah.
But in being Messiah, no, I say now so much chima kakrebi yede. Ewo who are the same adana or fight no, or say you see the public trust no. And then or done confidence in a way, and also abuse the trust. That's me.
All right.
The process can do that.
Right.
But whether they are doing that or they are not doing that, we obia make us say, address certain issues like this. How do you go it? And me, I've addressed Musa on so many occasions. First time Odipo buying, I picked the phone and called him. Now me call Joy. Now me see opening now. We the assementi ase kakra. Because even the last election, Dr. Bawumia had almost 137 members of parliament supporting him because he was an establishment candidate. So, over 6,000 appointees, the best you can do is to shut up.
Right.
DCs were his campaign coordinators by default.
Yeah.
All the 276 constituencies. All constituency executives, all the 17, who could draw born in Abakacha's on your day on support.
Right.
So he was indeed the establishment candidate. And President Akufo-Addo was very intentional. And this is Akufo the enemy. Uso Akufo the also Maya Juma, Medobane Chifala Monya de Mumwano. We just are we just me the neighbor, Mupo Monya de Munsonimu.
All right. Despite
the course so having the state security apparatus to engineer everything on the election day, only 61% too.
Right.
Tiasemni you. Tidipa only 61% Kennedy or no literally barely about 6 months while they prepare for elections, so it will be 37%. Then afi and then normal says the waves and momentum Ken has been able to sustain it for that long. Now I heard Brian's what tells him. Brian was in Bawumia's camp, so
yeah,
very strong.
Yeah.
Arguably now there are speculations that vice presidential near Tepono.
Right.
Me and Papa Dr. Duchum. I mean, you can downplay him in all the regions, but Asante factor and Asante cars he's playing, you can't take his about 7% from him.
Yeah.
What I say? Because observation and reasonability are also variables and components in research.
Yeah.
What I say? You're going to research, I can't tell you, oh, Aba Yakotono, Donald Trump and Kamala Harris, Donald Trump benya 12%. It won't be reasonable. It defied the logic and consistency. Said no, because there are references in previous elections. A bit a guide. Kwabena Japan no need about Bawumia camp, and no contesting. President Akufo-Addo was the one who was in the helms of affairs. No other ship on Oko, because easy, and no abandon ship no. Until Lord come in, no day no be up baby the tier day. Afa, I'm not able. I don't have the permission to label baby a binumia day.
Yeah.
But at least with President Akufo-Addo, with Kwabena Japan, with Dr. Brian Champon, and with Dr. Duchum, these are objective realities and the OBI day.
Yeah.
And these are big fishes. No, all of a sudden, they're pull from. And the MPC could be the Ken ho. So, now I feel Ken no near 37 and Dr. Bawumia and the camp match almost by 5 different divisions. You know, Ken Mum now drops to 17.
Okay.
But this is my approach. Me, I see every pool as a guide and a template to guide you and a good feedback for you.
Right.
Because some of the pools will favor you. Now, only pool no, pool how the basis is that first of all you have to look at the methodology in the AUC. Methodology na predator outcome in the
Yeah.
In Musa's case, this is so one more random sampling to Fidina na EFA.
Yeah.
Assuming say Fidina fa, our program say Fidina fa, enipa 2020 from each constituency na free randomly. That itself will give a bias and skewness. Una rekundia. Okodomi kwabenya. One more delegate is about 1,800. Oba Fomena is about 230. And if you are picking 10 randomly from each constituency,
but I know you disproportionate. On caso pick if but what if ABA stratified sampling? Which say in stratified sampling, na what their unity so that you know that say baby swan oma more sampling
exactly
and baby swan so
100%. Me bahano. I'm not sure that dantem because I mean without disrespect to any journalist, there are some you go you don't even prepare. But I sure that dantem because I wanted to rest and I am not flow saying some of them will say what questions and not necessarily so person own a certain question but sometimes to be guided. No, me flow organically say and I'm happy where you are going. Yes, as at now no. We don't have. I have not had the opportunity to review the full methodology that you see.
Yeah.
But I'm borrowing his own words.
Yeah.
Our car say move to go randomly.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that when you do the random sampling, one of them could be the simple random and the stratified now. Now the argument could be A or B.
Yeah.
And either of them, no, it could be their working.
Yeah.
It could also be their mesomeria they making.
Say but issue 10.
Yes. Who you to 10. So then you get a bias thing.
Right.
And you say you're wrong go. But the outcome will be a bit skewed based on the methodology.
Because it also DB
yes. And you can find the 10. Now can find for 10. You won't get the true representation.
That's also true.
And you may be doing a percentage terms. If you are doing percentage terms there, then it will be reasonable. Percentage terms that you'll be doing about 180 people, whilst a beer if you're using 10%, maybe a formula you'll be doing around 27 people.
Exactly.
What I say. So we may have to get clarity into it. But for me, this is my view.
I'm decided for
I'm coming there.
Yeah.
For me, this is my position on polls. Papa Musa Dan Kwayene Juma. I will not sit here and discredit him.
Right.
He's done his job. Osha, there are pollings that he's predicted so right. If you look at, for instance, 2020, you know, Obayachu.
Yeah.
2019. He was able to get what almost President Akufo-Addo had. No? He had it almost right. But President Muhammad was 34%. But President Muhammad had around 43. 10% difference.
Yeah.
And the polling there is not absolute.
Yeah.
It's just a projection. That's not so for crying polling.
Yeah, of course.
But the whole point is that it's just a feedback to make us to work so hard. There are other polls that has predicted so right and so strongly for Ken.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nano Sanity Africa there be.
Yeah.
TV3
Yeah.
Mindjoy be.
Yeah.
And all of them Ken is leading. All of them Ken is leading.
Yeah.
Sanity Africa crowd were targeted delegates specifically. But the reason why Musa Damquest's own has become topical is because of the relevance he's built for himself over the history.
I get it.
And say now
yeah.
Can hold Chenekakra because I was a pundit.
Yeah.
And quickly what he did was or making U-turn started then doing exit poll. So that if it is not here, the exit will then vindicate him. There is no 100% precision. But I mean reasonably, objectively. How would then somebody move from 17 with all this background from 37 with all this background and history
but so Okabibia may on say nano or yeda analysis.
Yes.
The delegate system no. Momu delegates no. And Kokrafoni also.
Yes.
And these people, it's difficult to change.
The last time he mentioned about 70-something%, but when I checked the data, it was less than that. It was around 54.
Now even 54,
yes. But
when you have 54, even 50% as delegates are or from 50 years and above.
That would be around 45 plus.
Yeah, so even 45, but they are conservative. They're against JJ4 because 45 years JJ.
Yes.
It is typically a strong MPP person. On no one to men this one to aba. That person be a delegator. Now I see we near panel and I am to one as well. Necessary no say a ding.
Necessary ding. It boils down to komo It boils down to messaging.
Okay.
It is undisputed. Say, researcher I am komo aye di nyina no Dr. Bawumia solely hope. And idea the straw he's holding on, Brian is so funny. The second chance. And if I am Kennedy or I'm a communicator of Kennedy, my only issue, and as I say, the only burden on me is I should explain to the delegates why second chance in MPP, even though it's a true history, but the proper history, has always been contingent on performance.
Okay.
What I say? Juma. What I say? And polling there, when him say duration also counts. In the next 5 days, depending on also a Juma. But the skewness of the figure to tell me, say, Brother Champo, 1%.
But say on this side, and because on this side, the view war.
Yes.
And no to me,
it's 27%. Yes.
You understand? 27, that's a lot.
Yeah. When you are an establishment candidate, people are not afraid to associate themselves with you.
Okay.
Nti Dr. Bawumia no establishment no be anim say yesi bia ebi susu say executives di nachi ebi susu say mpanifo we na share nachi wono no de ehunu ne yefiri who's establishment technically is like the party is for you.
Yeah.
I mean some way somehow. Obi ani wa osuro say obeka che osobeto ama establishment candidate. And say obi obeka che so undecided bia ye nipa so ye de ohwe ni yi. Me if you ask me, I'm not worried because I calculate Ken votes to be the 17% no or the amount no. But you bet him about 17 plus undecided is say 24 me one.
Yeah.
17 plus 24 me say 17 plus 24 should give us 41%. Now, assuming without admitting this logic is to suffice, because now we are all doing analysis. This logic is to suffice. Now, Bawumia stands as 47. Ken stands at what? 41.
So, you know, can say likely say
run off. I'm not worried, bro. But when him say me a Bawumia fan, and if I'm in the Bawumia's camper, I should be worried. Do you know how I should be worried?
Tell me.
In a year ago, I had 61% in the last primaries. With all the support and the machinations and the establishment support, only 61%.
Right.
Then Musa did the polling just last month. Polling our year last month, when is that Dr. Bawumia on 52%, right? And in the space of 1 month, Dr. Bawumia has dropped from 52% to say 47%. That is a 5 percentage point drop, very significant. And if the trajectory is to go like that from 61 to 52 to 47 in the next 4 months, but no one is to drop by 20%.
Possible.
Yes, and then could drop by 20%. And also 32%. And I don't see Dr. Bawumia crossing 32%.
32% for delegates, Nana.
Yes, you could talk about
Hey, Kwasi, I don't say Dr. 30%.
When they tell Musa Nagwa data near you, she has sent me you.
So,
Mami fa de bi a no me afun ti o. Mr. Janto ti. Me ba pani no ti. Asem ni ni.
Yeah.
Now no nya 61%.
Right.
With the delegates, and they are verifiable votes.
Yeah.
Then Musa just last month did the polling. So polling not about me drop from because the album has not changed significantly.
Right.
And he has dropped from 61% to 52% in the last election. Last poll now Musa in the space of 1 month, we're moving from 52 to 47.
Right.
That is 5 percentage point drop.
Yes,
a SWAT 5. Anything occurs said there's likely to be runoff. Assuming without admitting, second, etimitor and 5 percentage points now they are drop on. Can just 4 regions so.
And Odinya
5 percentage drop on. Affected Bawumia. It is a can to me other 12 regions near the account. As I had a back to back. What it means is that if you are to go by Musa's own analogy, every month to be or 5% now. The next 4 months of Dr. Bawumia so quoted 20%. What 20 free? Because I said 20 free 47 he is around 27. And I'm so Papa didn't mean 32%.
And even 32.
By Musa don't quite
not can is when you say.
Hey, now say me I'm projecting around
record you.
Yeah, I'm projecting. You see, me, I'm a very realistic person.
I understand. Tell me, see your recording.
Yes, I'm
recording.
I'm projecting.
Cameras, bear me. I am for the name also.
Oh, you need to wait my house.
Okay,
it is my projection. That can maybe.
But
it is my projection that can maybe do around 62 to 64%.
Mr. I repeat.
It is my projection. Second maybe doing around 62 to 64%. We are winning Western North.
Okay.
We are winning Ahafo.
Okay.
We are winning Bono. Bono is, as at now, we may need to work so hard.
Right.
But Bono is, say, Yantimia and winning pa, very close.
Right.
Savannah will be close.
Okay.
The other 4 northern regions, you know, Dr. Bawumia will win.
Okay.
But upper east. Sorry.
Northeast.
No. Northeast and upper east, yeah, Boko issues, you know. It will also be very close because of the Kusasis and the Mamprisis factor, where Kusasi from Kwaso and also power.
Right.
We win Greater Accra.
Okay.
Right? We win Eastern. We win Vota. Dr. Bawumia be winning. It's likely he will win Oti. Asante obviously will be a decider.
Okay.
Asante no say a beam because now look at the last time Asante nya first lady. Because Candice will be in free house.
Yeah.
Dr. Bawumia free enough. Ken is also from Asante, even though we're living a life in our Kumasi.
Oh, candidates.
The 2 leading candidates.
Okay. Yeah.
So Brian also free.
I'm not ready for Papa Antina.
Oh, there be say asema can.
Can you say 4?
Oh, that make the 2 leading one.
Okay. Obi and free.
So contest be ano. Where they are, you have the dominant ones.
Supporters in this will play Brian for ne. On them come Japan for the Biama 0. No, it's not fair to us.
Oh,
what they meet you. But so Kwabran so free as a Korima.
Yeah, wow, Kasa, we are interview with Musa Ekano. But this is about the 33 day, but this is about Brandy.
Oh, the team.
But let me put it this way. So the 2 leading candidates, which is Ken and Dr. Bawumia, will be in free.
Okay.
Right. But case in say, identity politics is very real.
Very.
Maybe we are almost so when you know. I think for harmonious living in the identity politics is very real.
If we have free
it's true.
So it's true.
How come all the 11 MPs from the north now what to be that? But the point is say, the last time Asante region, first lady was Kunedu.
Yeah.
In the history, but you're clothing the president.
Yeah.
As you are 2 abasini, we are Ghana depending.
I said no free bono, near free bono side.
Yeah, make sense or no president Kofo free her.
Yeah.
But in the year crowd no free her.
Yeah.
But over President Kofo any Kunedua, we've not had any other person close to the presidency again.
That's true.
What I say?
That's true.
And it is a case. Can you free Mampo here?
Okay, I saw Mampo.
There be a
Asante Mampo. Okay, that's fine.
Asante say nano a year cry and she's going to be stationed here.
All right.
She's also going to be stationed or by Brutete Hania cry and most of the account communities to also campaign. And the air corner, the normalcy corner how projections in the me I don't see can do anything less than 62 to 64%.
All right. Now Yankoha. I mean, congratulations in advance, Bema. But we cannot overrule outside the party.
Yes.
And I'm saying this because of the experience that we've had.
Okay.
I remember Muchusu Napo.
Yes.
And say it's a public knowledge on our position and what I said. Say you may be popular because even at the time Alan Freeman Keno, post waha. Yeah. Emma mu confirm me say instead of Bawumia no peken. It was clear.
Yes.
That I'm talking about 2024. That time instead of Bawumia no more peken.
Yeah.
But Mutuma Bawumia because they said that Mutuma Bawumia won't win. They said it on a platform. The records are there. Now, can so I want the baggages.
Oh, Oyedipa.
Yes. And me who some more yeah let can be can. But you see, kakra me sumi who Ghana for no say sometimes we can be a bit funny. Baby a what touchy. In Sambia or Kaye. Ebia delegates may forgive.
Yeah.
A day na more ye. Because don't overrule the anger outside. You may need them.
Yeah.
The pastoral, I've seen a lot of pastors they are still referring, even though I know say we apologize. But see, Ghanaians are funny. The hurdle of trying to now come into the Ghana space where nanu being sema ubin so aheti omono. What are you going to do about it?
I mean, sometimes I disagree with you on a lot of things, including your style as a journalist. But there's one thing I cannot take from you. There is one thing I cannot take from you. A sense of reasoning. Anyhow, without question. Me, I like it like this. And I mean, state one of the stations I'm a choir manager. I join the city because I'm commander was wrong. To train some day eba. And this is a very valid question. You see, me and Ambeka let can be Ken.
Yeah.
And I have to state it on record that let can be Ken was relevant then in a context. But right now, it's a message that gradually has to be toned down.
Okay.
But what did I mention? Because
BBM.
What was the context? The context was nobody cares about what Ken is bringing on board. All what everybody cares about is Ken is temperamental, Ken is this, Ken is this. They say yes. Nana, Ken ye nipa. Just like me no uti. There were shortcomings. We have strengths and shortcomings.
Yeah.
Yeah, so far I said be no more to it. Sometimes if you are exposed to their private life, that's
true.
But they manage it in a nice way.
Right.
Can have strengths or weaknesses. Say them say and no kind. And then we be na papa. What I say. But even no man or you who say your shortcomings and so temperamental and it all depends on how we want to view it.
Okay.
And again, how we also want to harness it for the development of our country.
Right.
Nipa also a temperamental. No? It could be true. But have you also looked at Ken also being so passionate about getting results?
Getting results done.
Say, I don't know why now Ken the one chima. I say Ken the what did the party for them? What was the contest? This is a man now from the 92 BC. He has always been in defense of the party.
Right.
What did you see? Ye party, Juma, ye party, for ya, and to tell that party next year. I feel like Cobroso. Ya dear no nakuma de. Mama one instance.
Right.
A party focus ya President Akufo-Addo. Gabi Asaroche dako. Asante Bedie too. Osafo Mafo. No mukushia party mpanifo ne party makakra.
Right.
Ewo Gabi fi ewo Kufuria. No mu di nkomona say no obi afafo and recorded the Osafo Mafo ye de ekan.
Yeah.
Na so Osafo Mafo kan ni modu. Ne hadwen so kakra.
Yeah.
Asem say as a superiority complex and rivalry between the Achems and the Asantes.
Yeah.
Nipa no record we no de koma one farm ro inshira no one farm koma you one farm call mine so no de ko pro NDC station Accra FM no mo ko boy ankade or how no ye ni kese pa beto the Asantes and the Achems yeah no be man Akufo-Addo like ka bra mensia na be dey e be patcho no be ya na sense so ye de eguzo when Ken heard it most MPP for
yeah.
You see how the contest is he doesn't understand why any reasonable person
because in KNDC from Komunye I agree
what I say
I agree
Obia or how he addresses issues me I'm a communication person Musa Dankwa Adebayi somebody will rubbish it. Oh, Musa Onya credible, papa.
Yeah.
I don't see it as anything to us.
Yeah.
The mayor no boko. The mayor me address you. I can make us say dear nipa ye. There's a nyansa day anymore. Ken kanasa. Ken make us say moya kwasiafo. But you see, we are highly conservative, like we said.
Exactly.
What I say. And no matter how you also need to learn and adapt. But again, context is also very important.
Yeah.
But the most important thing is say, let us also not weaken our leaders, especially when we know say one more character traits be bit my day. You have a be or you're bold or you're courageous. Also, you will timid challenging the party for or timid kind of create nipa. Why do we want to change such a person to fit into a certain template that we call presidential material from time immemorial 92 up to now?
Donald Trump stand
no, not really. Americans are different from us.
Okay.
But I'm saying that in as much as he keeps his strength, he also needs to balance it to also fit within the Ghana. That's why now it has changed from let can be can to
Let Ken be Ken too.
The old Ken fought for you, but the new Ken will build.
And say new Ken.
Yes, yeah. But you see, we are also
but
mindful.
Not because it's an open position. Because me I say, you would just say, Abranti, be none who fin pan. On or just say the bianata, but Okaso pe SP if you have ban was shining
what say
what pie baby what the crab
also the Kenyan say we are also mindful not changing him. That's why I say or nipa or a shortcomings.
Yeah.
And no many people are I'm sure say if you give him the opportunity on kind of side
I get it.
Not necessarily because position already always. My mom one example. Recently we catch him say Ken cop pass off watch. And I said I won't even go and tell him this and he won't do it. No Musa now say what we do so for atem or say Debbie. No say me a praise bini or me di so for atem. Me this would do romance so for be atem. South of would do matter me fine. Nigeria Gezi, but they have following.
But they have following.
No problem with that.
You need them. You need them. So it's very important.
I agree with you. But make us some Nana.
Because so called one man church so following.
Can never attack one. I'm coming, Nana.
But they feel. You see, you're explaining, which I agree. But the point is that sometimes it's not just. For example.
But if you had allowed me to learn, I was coming though. If you had allowed me to learn, the point I was making is what is the context? The context is not say Ken Edra Sofo and I pass off as him.
Yeah.
But this is Uncle subsequently Omukra back came fee and all the allegations he leveled against them. So more your car smuggling, yeah, Jim Crawford say, yeah, way ABC. They came to him to apologize to him.
Yeah, I get it.
So why then do you say Ken should then make a U-turn and go and apologize to them in the name so position.
For the optics
but for the balance is also that then people would then see Sakwano or Boha he's a hypocrite. Ken no,
I'm not sure so Moka say Obwa because people loved it. I'm sure say the tone at which okay. Sometimes a bit me a kabibi. Nay no cre. But you see tone. There have been times I've been hard on an Akufo. But they said okay no cre but your tone. So I apologize. Then I do apologize. You understand?
Who apologizing for tone?
No, apologizing for the tone, which is very important because we are in the conservative environment. Adebi or one cat is okay. Can be can say, but can say. Communication because of our system. What do I say? You can use nonsense in USA. You can say F the president in USA. Ebia won't mean canisa. So people are saying, say, can you name so?
But the tone is not the act.
No, but the tone is important because a gesture. In communication, gestures are very important. Tones are very important.
But how then do you go? For instance, somebody commits a grievous offense. You condemn it in ultimate terms. Then because you want a position as a presidential candidate or to be a president, you go and say, what are you going to apologize for? Say, I don't know why I said your kind of.
No, so bet me a can, but the point of fire and you say ultimate or babatian or dokwanso. And it's only a catching papa to me was in Damascus. You know, so I think that no, that's a feedback for you. I think, for example, how you are communicating, very perfect. People are just praising how you are communicating because of that experience. Can me who me attitude need be one who I mean I like straightforward things and I am able to resonate. But in our system and conservative system, there are certain things you could say, but the how is important. The how now can no. If you say the how no.
I agree with you.
So maybe the how.
Omaya yewo jatwa hini wo mu no. Know the context of Omaya no.
Yeah.
Sometimes you should also not hide under the umbrella of conservatism. Let us also not run away from the canker culturally.
Exactly.
There are a lot of times that we don't have to be modest on certain situations.
I agree.
You have to be very hard.
Unfortunately,
my mouth situation be this situation. I don't see the better tone that you can describe how I didn't go for the echo. Say if you have been a victim to sa any past mesino whose name maybe I may not want to repeat or mention again. If you are a victim to it, now you're vulnerable. Now yeah, you asasi be a good be a dema yasajo and these guys keep destroying families. And then later you say, oh, because of the tone, we should then go to ABCD and apologize to them. Yes, you see, Ken because of Ken no. The support base is where grassroots now says Sadia Okayo. So it has to be a fine balance.
Yeah.
And what is the fine balance? The fine balance is that from January till now, no?
Right.
Now Ken speaks modestly, Ken speaks nicely, Ken address Saturday already about FM.
Ken will be Ken.
Oh yeah, Ken will be Ken.
That's it.
And I know America is about FM.
I mean him. On the meeting.
None of the
yeah.
What America? You are invited, no? Then people place a call here to US chapter MPP.
Yeah.
And sa no panel ko event na no my friend Kwafon say sa Ken movement no is not recognized by the MPP in cancel event.
Oh.
Who does that?
Yeah.
I know and how then
no Ken will be Ken.
Ken will be Ken.
I support.
Right now Ken will be Ken.
Right.
Let Ken be Ken. But at the same time Ken is like a boxer.
Yeah.
When you are in the ring, you beat your opponent so mercilessly.
Yeah.
But he doesn't go about after so a free ring in himself. We share we are no abono.
Time we share Bawumia, there's that mutual respect.
He's a nice person.
All right. Final word. Friends of Ken. I was from a magazine. No team.
I want my time is about.
Now 3 years. Me 20 minutes were high. It's mama 1 hour.
Mama final word. No address it. Mama address it. Just 2 minutes. But just 2 minutes. Mama address it. The second chance.
1 minute.
Oh, second chance. 1 minute. Mama try.
Yeah. The time also.
The catch party for the Ghana for you say MPP abako sem no. Ya to ankrofo so. But akama me kasa amfo na ede e che ne nto aso.
Yeah.
Omo ayamo makọ ni mpre no ni mpre so so nyina e demonstrate so metima ede ayi bibi.
Right.
Adubu ahekọfa the party ni baaye. Oko onya 30.9%.
Right.
Second time kwa amana nkobio because say wa anya de.
Right.
President Kufuor de ko 39%. No wa chese obetima ede ayo nti amana to aso. Ana ode kokọ wini e. President Kufuor eso kura be fa President Kufuor 39% no ko 49. Ono kura de o ka wini first round.
Yeah.
Ana chiri ekoya osade ye de e bai. Nti wuntimi me fa Akufo-Addo de even the recent one na emeteso by 33%.
Right.
Ukura kwateso by 16%. Emeteso by 1.6 almost 1.7 million votes.
Right.
Now one show demonstration be also a reward or second chance. In general, say a Magana for the party for United States. Second chance, no, and you're just contingent on showing up. But has always been premised on performance.
Right.
And Yakoto Aba out of 9 regions, you were Makuma 90 ACs, MPP will move 5. You were 4 regions, you need just 1 parliamentary slot.
Right.
Seat. Aba Yakoto Yano. Almost 400,000 of Yanko for to my parliamentary etutia presidential.
Right.
So, it be a party in in the spirit of revival in Kenya, I say a quarter assemblies of God in Presby, to the CA in Kenya.
Right.
Party in 32 years. Dr. Bawumia, President Akufo-Addo 16 years. The Nipa baby or my abwa, or moon free seeing him, near for be better to me aba, and that is Ora Kennedy or Hene, a Japan.
Yeah, that's it. This is a performance, right?
A performance, yeah.
And now more for 61%.
As I 62 to 64.
62 to 64. Because you got here, that's it. Yamin Sham.
I boss no call power. I tell 200.
So I know about
it. And when first the war part, they are called to Korea and Indiana, brother. The war free your pants on Yanni and Twins for them piano. So, and on 20 watch, let's say, Kennedy, a compre with Japan. Openia, one of the ones since human son or ham will be in Yuma. I'm a Ghana for any Bian. Sani pay what the Ghana Shannon sir already will be in Yuma. I'm a Ghana for a yebida. And to say what the Ghana Shannon sir, a fee or Bayana Cassim. I don't say them dick I catch or much more mountains or mere campaign. Change it at the Canadian compre with Japan. Say, maybe I drop that would to me Abba Abedi NPP. I mean, couldn't walk to Frank. I couldn't at the NPP. What Roma? I could see the Abba, my person was over better or comment section. We did your demand come about and look for Santi.